Hi guys, it's Megan from Vigilante Vibes, and today I have another character breakdown. And with Thunderbolts basically a month away now, I think it's a good time to talk about the Sentry. Who is he? What's his deal? Who is he in the comics? And what can we expect in Thunderbolts? But you should know that my theories usually don't come true, so you have to let me know in the comments what you expect in Thunderbolts because my theories suck. So, Sentry. He has many, many names. The Golden Guardian of Good, Life and Death, the Sentry, the Void, and Robert Reynolds. Today, we're going to discuss all of it. His names, his powers, his backstory, every single bit. So, when dealing with the Sentry, you have to ask your question, have you ever felt conflicted between different sides of your personality? Maybe one part of you is a bit more mischievous than your usual do-gooder self. Perhaps there's a secret urge to do something unexpected, like destroying the universe, for example. Is that a little extreme? Likely for most people, but not for Robert Reynolds, aka the Sentry. The Sentry, along with his dark alter ego, the Void, he'll be in Thunderbolts. The upcoming MCU film is set to premiere in May of 2025, which is next month. Before the movie hits theaters, we're going to go through all of the tragic backstory of Robert Reynolds, the immense threat he poses to the Marvel heroes, really any character, really anyone in the universe. He's definitely someone you want on your side. Or there could be consequences, and I will get into that. The Sentry first debuted in Sentry #1 in 2000, written by Paul Jenkins and art by Jay Lee. The origins of Robert Reynolds and his reason for breaking into a secret lab vary. Some versions depict him as a troubled high school student, while others show him as a struggling drug addict in search of his next fix. Personally, I like the drug addict storyline. I just think I like that darkness. What is clear, though, is that Reynolds stumbled upon the Golden Sentry Serum. Much like the Super Soldier Serum, this formula was designed to create superpowered individuals. It was developed by both Department K, the Canadian group behind Wolverine, and Project Rebirth, the American initiative responsible for Captain America, Agent Venom, those kind of people. Together, they formed Project Sentry. Whereas Steve Rogers became a shining example of heroism, Robert Reynolds' mental instability resulted in the creation of two powerful identities, the Sentry and the Void. But in the beginning, he was simply the Sentry. Recognizing Reynolds as a potential threat, Project Sentry implemented measures to control his powers, which did not work out well. The professor, whose lab Reynolds infiltrated, conditioned him to believe he was dependent on a serum to maintain his strength, leading Reynolds to self-impose restrictions on his abilities. Reynolds, in his civilian life, married his high school sweetheart, Lindy Lee, who I think she's toxic as hell. Like, she's so unattracted to Robert Reynolds, but is so attracted to the Sentry. It's very sad to see, but that's neither here nor there. Professionally, Project Sentry reluctantly allowed him to become a superhero since his newfound powers inspired him to help others as the Sentry. In truth, a large part of the Sentry's success was his palatable appearance. He is blonde, conventionally handsome, and a positive demeanor, all the makings of a classic hero. So, Steve Rogers. However, he also forged close relationship with his peers. Though the public accepted him more willingly than mutants, mutates, or eccentrics, Sentry was a friend to the X-Men, Inhumans, especially Spider-Man. Over time, his immense power levels meant that he was constantly manipulated by those around him, often for selfish reasons or out of fear. Sentry became a new member of the New Avengers because he was worried his power could outmatch even the Scarlet Witch. Later, Norman Osborn recruited Sentry into the Dark Avengers, which I will make a video about the Dark Avengers. Yeah, I'm going to do that. To be Osborn's powerhouse. Even Doctor Strange has used the Void's nigh omnipotence to defeat Loki, a crushing blow to Robert's trust in the former Sorcerer Supreme. So why does everyone want Sentry on their side? I said I'd get to this, and I will. It's not just because of the inherent danger he poses as the host of the Void. Sentry has an almost endless array of abilities, most of which remain untapped. He's only scratched the surface of his potential, and that's saying something. As a result of the Golden Sentry Serum goal to create super soldiers, Sentry possesses the usual set of superhuman abilities: fight, super strength, durability, stamina, invulnerability, and heightened intellect. He even designed his own headquarters, the Watchtower, complete with his AI system, Clock. But that's just the beginning. Beyond these standard powers, Sentry has the ability to manipulate matter, which allows him to shapeshift, alter life forces, and even resurrect himself and others, making him effectively immortal. He can also harness light-based energy and tap into psionic abilities strong enough to subdue the Hulk with ease. In terms of raw power, he's been said to wield the force of 1 million exploding suns. That is 1 million exploding suns. That's crazy. So I've mentioned the Void a little bit, but now it's time to talk about the Void, who, in short, is very creepy. On his own, the Sentry would be enough of a danger to others. Mr. Fantastic even identified him as an Omega-level threat. Yet, there's a darker side to Sentry. Due to his fragile mental state, because he is a diagnosed schizophrenic, Reynolds cannot reconcile his 3 personas. And the concerning part is that it's not just a split personality situation. When the Void is present, it's literally another entity. It's not known for sure whether the Void is an ancient evil force or a mental virus implanted by Sentry's enemies. Whatever the source of the Void may be, it's activated itself within Reynolds as soon as he took the serum. Not even Reynolds himself is sure who came first. In contrast to Sentry's photokinetic abilities, Void possesses brachinesis, weather manipulation, and the ability to possess others. Most famously, he uses shadowy tendrils to inflict excruciating physical and mental pain upon victims. The Void has vowed that for every person the Sentry saves, the Void will kill another, which is so dark. There's no question about the immense threat Robert Reynolds poses, but one lingering mystery remains. Why does no one remember the Sentry? Throughout his journey, Reynolds struggled with an internal battle of world-shattering proportions, constantly torn between the Sentry and the Void. It was this inner turmoil that allowed his enemy, the General, with the help of the mutant illusionist Mastermind, to convince the Sentry that he needed to erase himself for the safety of the entire world. Realizing he was losing the battle against himself, Sentry made a strategic move. He contacted a comic book writer to share his story, ensuring that once his history was written down, there had to be a way for him to return later. Remember his enhanced intellect? Well, using his psionic powers, Sentry erased the world's memory of his existence, making even his watchtower disappear from public knowledge, replaced by Tony Stark's own headquarters. But beings as powerful as the Sentry and the Void aren't easily forgotten, and they never stay suppressed forever. Despite his complex personalities, Reynolds shares a close bond with Spider-Man, like I said, even figuring out Spidey's secret identity as Peter Parker in the past. But he's very good at keeping that secret. This connection is particularly intriguing, given that both heroes in comics and on screen have struggled with public perception issues. Sentry often works alongside Doctor Strange and Reed Richards, and Emma Frost has proven to be a reliable ally. He has been part of the New Avengers, the Mighty Avengers, and even had a romantic relationship with the Inhuman Crystal. During the Civil War, Sentry sided with Iron Man, though he maintains a complicated, frenemy-like relationship with the Hulk. Unless you're reading the 2008 solo run of the Sentry, where he really sees Hulk as more of a child, which I kind of dug. I like that a lot. With his immense strength, the Sentry Void persona has been known to tear opponents apart, including figures like Ultron, Morgan Le Fay, and Ares. As Void, he even took on the role of Death, one of Apocalypse's horsemen, and once merged with the Silver Surfer. Though Thor and Null were able to kill the Void temporarily, the most tragic moment came when Sentry, unable to control his darker side, flew Void into the sun. So that is Sentry. He's an interesting character. I've always found him to be rather dull when he's with a team like the Mighty Avengers or anything like that. But I find him so much more fascinating on his own. So I definitely say give his solo comics a try. I prefer like I said, the 2008's run of just Sentry. I think it's like 8 comics long. Any questions you have about him, it does a really good job answering it, and you get to know the character much more intimately. And some of it's a real mind twist, but it's pretty good stuff. As for Thunderbolts, we've seen where definitely the Void has taken over in some of the trailers, where he's kind of just killing folks left and right. I'm curious how they're going to start this, because you can see that he's just Robert Reynolds when they first meet him. So is he the Sentry? And they don't know, because why would he be there? Unless Clock told him he had to be there. Because if you don't know who Clock is, his AI component, Clock basically looks through the entire world and says, like, there's about to be a terrorist attack. There's about to be a bomb going off. You have 24 seconds to get there. You have 26 seconds to get there. That's what he does all day. And he prioritizes these big events by how many deaths there will be. It's very, very interesting. I do like that about him. I think he'd be kind of a dud without Clock. But I am curious, like, maybe is Clock what brought him there into the sorry, I have Daredevil on the mind. Into the Thunderbolts? I don't know. Is the Thunderbolts going to help destroy the Void? Because, like, they can't. He can temporarily be destroyed, but he comes back. The Void very clearly says in... Oh, my gosh, what is it? Sentry number 8, that as long as Sentry Robert Reynolds is going, then the Void will be there too, because he's a part of him. So you can temporarily get rid of him, but homie comes back. So that was my character breakdown of the Sentry. Pretty cool guy. Like I said, I find him kind of dull when he's on a team working with others, but I find him so much more fascinating when he's on his own. He does have a lot of depth to his character as a schizophrenic, recovering meth addict that took the super soldier serum because he thought it would give him a fix. Turns out they were trying to recreate the super soldier serum, but they made it 100,000 times stronger. So you have the Sentry. So it's not bad. Not bad. So let me know what you think of the Sentry in the comments. Let me know what you think is going to happen with the Sentry in Thunderbolts. And thanks for watching this. So like and subscribe. And if you really feel great, go ahead and share it. It's okay if you don't, though. I don't really care. With that being said, have a marvelous day.